Alright guys, if y'all are coming from a coffin shelf build video, this is actually how I got all my dimensions, my angles, and my cut angles. If you haven't watched my last video, I'll leave the link in the description and feel free to watch it. Also, if you can remember to like and subscribe, it would really help us out. So in step 1, the first thing we're going to do is figure out the dimensions that you're actually going to want for this. For our build, we went with 66 inches in overall length and 16 inches wide on the top part of the trapezoid, 14 inches wide on the bottom part of the trapezoid, and 22.5 inches wide from this part of the trapezoid, which will connect them both. Now what we're going to be doing is trying to find K, Z, J, Y, X, and T. In order to find these, we're actually going to break everything down. So we're going to start off with the top of the trapezoid. What we're going to do is turn it in, break it into a triangle like this, and we're going to be looking for angle B. In order to get angle B, we're going to have to go to step 2. In step 2, what we're going to go ahead and do is go find out the top part of the trapezoid, and this is actually 16 inches long, or 16 inches width. So 16 divided by 2 will get you 8. And then you're going to want to get the bottom part of the trapezoid, which is 22.5. So 22 divided by 2 will get you 11.25. Now you're going to take these two numbers and you're going to go ahead and add them up. So 11.25 plus 8 will get you 19.25. Now in order to find this part right here, angle B, or B is what we're looking for, we're going to go ahead and minus the entire thing, which is 22.5, and then minus what you added up, which is 19.25. will get you 3.25, and 3.25 will be B. So now that you got the length of B, now we can go ahead and find the length of C. In order to find the length of C, what we're going to do is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So what you're going to do is put in your calculator 13 squared plus 3.25 squared, and you should end up with 179.5625, and what we're going to go ahead and do is round that up to 179.6. Now that we got 179.6, what we're going to go ahead and do is square root it, and then you should get 13.4. And now we can go ahead and plug that in. So C equals 13.4. So Y equals 13.4. Now we're going to move on to step 4 and go ahead and solve for K. In order to solve for K, we're going to use SOHCAHTOA, where we're actually just going to use tan opposite over adjacent. Now in order to find that, what you're going to go ahead and do is go from your 90-degree angle directly across is going to be your hypotenuse, and the angle we're looking for, where it's connected, is going to be your adjacent, and from your angle across is going to be your opposite. So for this formula, we're going to go ahead and use a calculator, and the way you're going to do this is go opposite is going to be 13 inches and your adjacent is going to be 3.25. Now you're going to use tan to -1, which should be just press second and tan, and then you're going to go ahead and go 13 divided by 3.25. Once you do that, you should end up with 75.96, and we're going to go ahead and round it up again, and it's going to give us a 76. And so K equals 76, and that'll actually be one of our angles right here. So in step 5, we already have Y, which is 3.4, and K, which equals 76 degrees. Now we're going to be looking for angle Z. So in order to get angle Z, all you have to know is all these angles should add up to 360. So now that you know that, what you're going to go ahead and do is go 76 times 2, which equals 152. And once you get that, you're going to go 360 minus 152 will get you 208. So these two angles added up should be 208, because this is an isosceles trapezoid. So that means this angle has to match this angle, and this angle has to match this angle. And we're going to go ahead and go 208, divide that by 2, and you should get 104. If you want to double check to see if it's correct, you can actually add up 104 plus 104 plus 76 and plus 76, and that'll get you 360. So we're going to go ahead and move on to step 6, and we're going to be doing the same thing we did in step 2. So we're going to go ahead and find the overall length from the overall width on the bottom, which is 14, and then the top, which is 22.5. So we're going to take 14, divide that by 2, and you'll get 7. Then you're going to go 22.5, divide that by 2, and that'll get you 11.25. Now we're going to do the same thing that we did in step 2 and go 11.25 plus 7. That'll get you 18.25. So now what we're going to do is go 22.5 and subtract that from 18.25. You'll then end up with 4.25. So now we know A is 4.25. We'll go ahead and plug that in. A up here. This would be 4.25. And B is 53. So now we're going to do the A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And we're going to go ahead and go 4.25 squared plus 53 squared. Once you add those up, you should end up with 2827.06. Now that we've got that, we're going to go ahead and square root that. Once you square root it, you should end up with 53.17. We're going to go ahead and round that up to 53.2. So now we're going to go ahead and plug that into C, 53.2. And C was also our X that we were looking for. So X equals 53.2. And now that we've found out the length for this trapezoid, we're going to go ahead and try to find the angles. Then we're going to be looking for angle T and angle J. In order to get angle T and angle J, what we're going to do is break this down into a smaller triangle. So we're going to make this a right angle triangle, just like this. We're going to bring that over here so we got a bigger view. We're then going to plug in the numbers we already know. We know the hypotenuse is 53.2. The overall length is 53 inches. And the opposite side, which we just solved, is 4.25. So in order to find the angle of Q, what we're going to do is the same thing. Tan equals opposite over adjacent. And what that is going to be is 4.25 divided by 53. You'll plug that into your calculator and you should end up with 4.58. But we're going to go ahead and round that up to 5. So now that we know Q is 5, this is actually going to be our angle right here. But we're trying to solve for angle T. Since we know this is a 90, when this comes down, this also comes down to a perfect 90. So what you do is add up 90 plus your angle Q, which will equal 95. So now that we got 95, we now know that T equals 95. And we'll go ahead and plug that in over here in step 9. So in step 9, we're going to be solving for J. In order to solve for J, we know that all these angles have to add up to 360, and this angle has to equal this angle. So this is also 95. And we're going to go ahead and do is add up 95 plus 95. And once you get that, that'll get you 190. Now what you're going to go ahead and do is go 360 minus 190, and you'll end up with 170. Now that you have 170, what we're going to go ahead and do is do 170 divided by 2, and you'll end up with 85. So that means angle J is 85. And if you want to check it, see if it's correct, you can go 95 plus 95 plus 85 plus 85, and that'll add up to 360. So in step 10, we're going to be finding the cut angles. And the cut angles are going to be these angles right here. So it's 104 degrees right here. You're not going to cut it on a miter saw at 104. What you're actually going to do is use this formula, which is obtuse angles. You're going to use 180 minus whatever your angle is, divide that by 2, and that'll get you your cut angle. For example, this is 104. We're going to go 180 minus 104. That'll get you 76. Now you're going to take 76, divide that by 2, and that'll get you your cut angle of 38 degrees. So 38 degrees is going to be our cut angle for D. Now what we're going to do is look for our cut angle for H. In order to get our cut angle for H, we're going to have to get the angle for W. Now in order to get this angle, we're going to go 76 plus 85, and that'll actually be 161. So this will equal 161. Now we're going to take 161 and put that into our formula, and we're going to do 180 minus 161, and that'll get you 19. Then you're going to divide 19 divided by 2, and that'll get you 9.5. So 9.5 is going to be our cut angle for H. So what that means is this board is going to be 13.4 inches long. one angle is going to be cut at 38 degrees and the opposite side is going to be cut at 9.5 degrees. This also means that since this one is 16 inches long or 16 inches in width, and this is a 140 degree and this is 140 degrees, we know that D is 38. So this 16-inch board is going to be cut on both sides at 38 degrees. Now to figure out our cut for angle G, all you have to do is the same thing we've been doing. It is an obtuse angle, so we're going to go ahead and go 180 minus 95, and you should get 85. And you're going to take 85, divide that by 2, and you'll end up with 42.5. So the cut angle for G is going to be 42.5 degrees, and it's going to be the same thing like we did for the other ones. This overall length is going to be 53.2, and we're going to cut the angle H at 9.5 degrees, and down at the bottom this angle is going to be angle G at 42.5 degrees. You'll also be making a 14-inch cut with 42.5 degree angles on both sides. And just in case you do get an angle that is not an obtuse angle, you'll use the next formula, which is the acute angle formula. If it is below 90, all you have to do is just divide that by 2, and that'll get your cut angle. For example, if your angle was 90 and you didn't know what to cut it at, all you have to do is just go 90, divide that by 2, and that'll get you 45. And this formula should work for any angle you have, as long as you use the obtuse angle formula or the acute angle formula. That should get you your cut angles that you are needing. So this is how we found our angles, our cut angles, and our dimensions for this overall build. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. We'll be happy to answer. We put a lot of work into this video, so please don't forget to like and subscribe. Give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Let us know if you have any other projects that you would like us to take on, and we'll see you next time.